Welcome to the Humanist Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Stearns. Join us on a journey where we unravel the intricacies of workplace dynamics. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Humanist. I'm your host, Ken Stearns. Another great guest lined up. I'm super fortunate that I'm able to, look through so many thousands and thousands of LinkedIn profiles and invite some special people on, and then hopefully, especially if you're listening to this, please do accept my request and be brave and come on the show. Like Tassos, our next guest, we were just having a pre-chat, and I learned more about what he's doing, and I'm really excited to hear the full story, Tassos.
Yeah, thank you. I can appreciate being here with you, and thank you for the warm introduction. I'm honored to be here, and I'm also excited, to unpack this, together. And
Yeah.
let's see where our conversation takes us, because we are always open to the unknown.
Yeah, and it's great. You're living the expatriate life, a Greek citizen living in Doha.
In Qatar, correct.
And Qatar,
Yes,
sorry, in
correct.
Qatar now.
Doha, Qatar, yes, it's Doha,
Yeah.
Qatar, basically, yes.
Okay, and then you had some interesting roles. They get there. I saw the sponsorship role. Looked like that would have been very interesting. You would have seen some amazing things in that role. As I look through your kind of how you ended up where you're at, and tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, how did you end up in Doha? And
In Doha,
yeah.
So in Doha, we've been living with the family here now for 11 years, since 2013. And actually, it was not 100% my decision to come in Doha in 2013. Of course, I supported it, but it was not my direct, let's say, decision when this took place. This decision took place because my wife got a job offer to work for the FIFA World Cup 2022. For the football.
Oh, so you're a trailer? Yeah, you're the trailer spouse.
Yes, exactly. I'm the trailer spouse. I like this expression, right? And I had to support also the house and the family and the kids,
Of course.
The first 5-6 months. So I went also through this process until we settled down, because my wife, started working immediately. So very hectically,
crazy day,
and even 10 years ago, imagine. So yes, I had to stay home, as a dad, taking care of the kids, and the family chores and everything. Finding a house to rent and stay, finding some support for the kids, taking to schools, every day. So following this kind of routine in the beginning. So, and why I say that, because when I was back in Greece, I was in a very senior corporate position, right? Mainly in fast-moving consumer goods, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and all this.
Yes.
And but as you understand, any relocation and any new step without having a solid professional, let's say, platform to work on requires some time before you get to know the right people, before you get to see what's happening in the new place you're going, etc., etc. So I went all through this nice experience, but it was very, 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 let's say, interesting experience, because imagine when I came, in order to come to the market professionally, I started with real estate. So I started with real estate business in a country which I didn't know basically anyone. Most of the people are speaking languages which I don't understand, like Arabic or Indian language or Arabic language, And English is popular here, of course, but it's not the main, especially in this kind of transactions, it's not the main language.
Local transaction, real estate,
correct, for real estate. So it was a big challenge for me. And take into account that Qatar in summer times, like all Middle East, it's like Sahara. It's like 50 plus Celsius. I'm not sure in Fahrenheit how that would be, but it's high, very high. I'm telling you. So we live in the AC. We live in the AC only. So imagine doing the real estate business outside in this heat, going from building to building, going up the stairs, down the stairs, up the lifts, down the lifts, And sometimes most of these houses they were empty, so they did not even have AC. So, but I can tell you definitely that this built my resilience level on a really, really, really high standards, because I did that for like 1.5 years. And I survived it. I survived the heat, and I survived all the challenges, with the communications and negotiations and all this. And then slowly after that, I got to meet a lot of interesting people. I shifted basically to events business, where I started because I was seeing that, Qatar, because of the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup was very strong in the events industry. So
Yes.
it was a big investment, and there are a lot of events happening, to prepare for the infrastructure and prepare all the know-how, also attract talent, in order to work in the events industry. And this is where I started back then, like now, maybe 8 years now. And still I'm doing some projects from time to time, on the events industry. But my main focus right now is coaching.
Yeah, and that was an interesting, kind of an interesting path, to take, that you ended up really turn your own life upside down,
Completely.
completely upside down, inside out. You change roles, you change hats, change countries, and it's difficult sometimes for people to appreciate. You change everything: the grocery store you go to, the bank, your doctors, your children's doctors, your dentist. Everything turns upside down: the language, the money, and then of course you
The
lose.
cultural, yeah, even the
Yeah,
culture, the religion, the cultural aspects, everything. Yeah,
the food, right? The food is going to be
yeah,
closer, but still far away from Greek
hmm,
food in Greece.
definitely not the Mediterranean, Greek
Yeah,
salad.
it's not, yeah, it's definitely different. And so through that, you go through your own process, um, and you come up with this coaching idea, this heart. Yeah. Before we jump in there, I want to do some fun. I'll give you a
Hmm.
surprise. Let's pull a
Okay,
card out of the jar.
there we are.
It's a good spot. And then I want to launch in to find out, a little bit about the journey around heart and how you came up with the acronym and everything. We'll spend quite a bit of time on that because I think that's a really interesting part of your story. But first, so
Sure.
I have this big jar. For those of you on audio, you can't see it, but I've got a big glass jar, custom made by this amazing glass artist. And there's 444 questions in here
Oh,
from
wow.
my original podcast called, not surprisingly, The Jar. And
Hmm.
these are humanistic questions, are all about things we think about as Tassos and I talked to, things you think about, but maybe you don't necessarily express and share your views or your life experience. So Tassos, here's your question. Have you felt the power of unconditional love?
Very interesting question, because I wrote even a blog on this specific aspect, specific subject, about unconditional love. Yes, of course
Oh, I love it.
I
This is great.
of course I've thought about that a lot. Being a father, and this is where it started. I can tell you, this is where I started mainly
Hmm.
we started becoming a family. We had our first child. Socrates is
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way his name. Right? And then you starting feeling. At least I started feeling this. I started
Yeah.
feeling, that there is no restrictions, there is no conditions, there is no
Hmm.
terms, there is no
Yeah.
negotiations, there is no give and take.
Yes.
Basically, it's really unconditional. It should be like this, and I'm very proud of feeling this and expressing this. Also to my son, and now my daughter as well. My daughter is younger, and of course to my wife and my loved ones, because it's a process by itself.
Hmm.
It's a conditioning process, if I can say that, the training process.
Yes.
Also, that once the spark starts, then slowly you start expanding this love and expanding this emotion to all your environment,
Hmm.
on all the people that are around you, not only the people, also the places, also the nature, also the pets, right?
Yeah.
So it was interesting, because when if I can share a small story here, when we had Socrates as our first child, and we were focused, it was our first child, so we were 100% there about his needs,
Yes.
taking care of all the needs and all that. And then our second child, Maya, our daughter, came into our life. And then we were again worried, and I was worried. I was saying, okay, but I love so much my son, and I love so much my wife. Is it possible, to
Yes.
really expand my love?
Yes.
Or you have to share it, right? And then
Ah.
and then I realized that love is not shared. Love is expanding.
Hmm.
So this was really my, let's say, my awakening moment there about love and about unconditional love. That the love in reality is not shared. Even if you have 10 kids, 15 kids, it's not that you're sharing your love into
You're not
different
dividing.
pieces.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
expanding the balloon. It's like a balloon that's expanding, endlessly expanding. And so this is what is love about for me, and this is what unconditional love is about for me.
It really is amazing. I'm here with my daughter. I've relocated to Portland, Oregon, in the west
Hmm.
coast of the America, and one of the cool things we have the grandson. He's about 9 months. And
Amazing.
it is just so fascinating that they have a huge heart at this age, and everything is love, right? They only know love. They don't know anything else, and
Exactly.
everything is new, and it's kind of fun. Sometimes, I came into the room yesterday. He was playing in the living room, and I walked in the room, and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden he just races over. He's crawling, just kind of almost walking, crawling, and he just races over, grabs my pant legs, pulls himself up, and just looks up at his grandpa. And I just like feel like I just melt, right? I just feel like this guy
Yes.
loves me. He just loves me, and he doesn't know why, but he's attracted like a magnet.
Exactly.
He wants to be there and just see me and look in my eyes and just, kind of touch your face. Um, it is. And it hasn't taken any of my love from somebody else away. Right. It's just made
Correct.
it's made the pie bigger. It's made the pie bigger. So and that makes my heart bigger, right?
Of
I think the
course.
love, I think that love comes from your expanding heart, is the way you're describing it. I just feel like, your heart's getting bigger and filling the room. So tell us, you're the founder of Heart Coaching. This is an
Mhm.
interesting,
I think
a
you know
brute.
what. I think, sorry to interrupt you, but I
Yeah.
think our listeners would think that your question was deliberate. But I have
Yeah.
to I have to explain to them, for the ones that they were in audio, that it was really drawn by jar accidentally by you, right? So
It's
there was no connection between love and heart.
it's a real thing. And the jar is like this. I've done 330, almost 330 interviews.
Wow.
And so often, Tassos, it's amazing the questions that come up. We talk about things
Mm,
and somebody pulls that question. So
incredible.
for me it's quite normal now. I forget to
You
tell the
see.
audience that's a real random question I pulled from 400. And
Yeah, yeah, and this is when you really questioning,
yeah,
what this or sometimes what is happening around us in terms of energy, in terms of spirituality, right? Because what you
yes,
just said, for me, it looks like synchronicity, right? It
yes,
looks like
absolutely.
there is no plan, there's no deliberation before that, and all of a sudden you're picking up a card, which
Yeah,
it's about love, which and then it's directly connected with the heart,
yes.
and
Yeah,
our
and
hearts,
especially,
which means
yeah,
our emotions and our emotions and our feelings and all this.
and heart is love, right? And I think so. We were talking before about your journey, and then I think it's kind of interesting too. You're that corporate guy, kind of a business guy, and probably a little bit heartless, in a way.
Well, in the
Maybe you had the
businesses,
heart.
as you know what, my mother was telling me, no, Tassos, you should not become entrepreneur. You're a very good guy. You will not survive in this entrepreneurial, corporate world. Be careful and be careful. So I have this
Oh my! I
belief.
love
This
my mom,
still,
my mama. Yes.
I have this still belief in my mind. I don't know if it's for good, for bad, but I can tell you that, yeah, sometimes it has protected me from strange decisions, from difficult decisions. Some other times it gets me a little bit more vulnerable, or a little bit more,
Yeah.
let's say, stepping back from some risks that maybe I could have taken. Right, but
Hmm.
I think this is life in the end. Sometimes you take some risks, sometimes you don't take some risks, depending on the conditions
Yeah.
and your decision making process at the specific time. In the end,
Yeah. Your maturity, what experience you've got, and you make those decisions. So how did you come up with what does a heart stand? What does a heart mean? And what's your What are you doing with this? The acronym was great for me. And why don't you take us down the rabbit hole and give us a little background for some
Sure.
folks.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yes. So heart was a kind of a revelation for me, right? Because when I started a few years ago, when I started with my coaching journey, which also came from I would say, kind of a spiritual, some kind of a spiritual explorations, of mine a few years ago here in Qatar and abroad. And then the word coach just came up, as a message, I could say, to me as a first idea. And then I started exploring further. And then, of course, I did my certification in the US, in the International Coaching Federation and all that. So I'm fully certified and accredited there. But the heart as a model came again similarly as a revelation, because I just, sometimes when you cannot sleep or you wake up in the middle of the night and you have some images or you have some thoughts, and you're not exploring them deeper, but then in the morning when you wake up, you say, okay, what was that now? Why was that coming to me? Why did it come? Does it mean something? How I can use it? Or you just throw it maybe and you just don't do anything and you just neglect it completely. So for me, it was one of these nights that this heart just pop up. And then I said, okay, what would that mean? I'm close to that. I feel close. I feel authentic. I feel true around this word heart, And then I said, okay, heart it's not only the organ. Maybe I can use it for my coaching business. Maybe I can use it, to discover something or go deeper in myself first of all, and then maybe try to express this to others or try, to support and be of service for other people as well, around this. So this is how it was the beginning, let's say, of the heart method. And what heart means, I said, okay, what could heart mean to me? And then I said, okay, let me break it down. What would the H be? The letter H for heart. And I said holistic, definitely holistic. Why holistic? Because I got trained in holistic coaching. I got accredited and certified in holistic coaching. So the H was perfect, right?
Easy.
To start with. Of course, if you ask me what holistic is, we need another maybe podcast or another full session, let's say, to explain to you what holistic is. But in 4 words, let's say in one sentence, holistic basically is how we align our physical, our mental, emotional, and our spiritual well-being. So how we align ourselves into the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual well-being, and how these 4 different levels of well-being are fully balanced. And this is the challenge. Mental, emotional, and spiritual. So this is the holistic approach. And of course, it's social and financial, right? And some more. But the main 4 levels is, and I will explain very quickly, if I'm feeling well physically, if I take care of myself, this is self-care now. If I take care of myself, if I have a routine and some habits that make me happy, then I can be stronger mentally. Okay. And then I can have clear mind. I can control my thoughts. I can take better decisions. For sure. If I do all these, also emotionally, I feel better because I feel more stable. I feel more grounded. I can share more emotions. I can understand my emotions better. I can share my feelings with other people better. So I'm becoming more balanced slowly. And spiritually, I try to align and balance all these with my true purpose, with my purpose. What is my purpose? What is my legacy? What is something that I can be of service or I can be of value to the society, to the people that are aligned with myself and all these 3 levels, all these 3 other levels. So this is the holistic, let's say, platform where we base everything. And then I said, okay, what is coming after holistic? Okay, let's say that ideally I have managed to be a holistic person with this, let's say, alignment around these 4 levels. What happens then? I said, okay, E, it's empowerment. For me, E is empowerment. It could be other things, but I think for me, it's the mostly empowerment, because you're getting this sense of empowerment and you're receiving the self-empowerment in order to be able to move on, in order to be able to be out and stand stand up, to the society, to the challenges, to the negotiations you may have, let's say professionally, on a professional or on a personal level. So you're getting empowered with what you're doing. You're getting empowered because you feel worthy. You're getting empowered because you feel that you're enough. You know exactly that you're balanced and grounded, and you know who you are, and you know what you're looking for. You see, that's why you receive this empowerment, this self-empowerment, and this you can reflect back then outside externally to third parties and to the other people, to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think when you walk in the room, even at that point, right, if you've got the holistic part down and the way you described it, I think you've got such a good energy, right? You're even like that love, right? It's that holistic energy is kind of extending past your physical body. People can feel it, right?
Yeah, this is what is energy about. This is what our energetic fields, and this is how we radiate, right? Our groundness, and how we radiate our love, and how we radiate our energy, basically, because it's everything. It's about energy. So you know that you are a public speaker as well, so you can feel that when you go on stage, and you have 200, 500, 1,000 people there, you have to shine. You have to shine. You have to shine authentically. Not shine because you just made up something. You need to shine authentically. Yeah, you cannot fake it. Exactly.
You cannot fake it on the stage.
You need to pass through this holistic preparation, this holistic approach. You know very well who you are, what you want to achieve, and then you're starting feeling this empowerment. So the next element, element of the heart is acceptance. A for acceptance.
Love it.
From my experience, Ken, 80% of my clients, and I'm not kidding, I've measured it, 80% of my coaches and my clients, they have a limiting belief, or they have a challenge in the acceptance space, in the acceptance world.
Even of self first, right?
Yes, of course, because it starts with the self-acceptance. This is what I mean mainly. It starts with, but maybe we cannot recognize that. We are not aware of that. We believe that it's about acceptance from others, but we don't understand that we have to work inwards. We have to work inside of us first to raise the self-acceptance ratio, let's say, for ourselves first, to understand our weaknesses, understand our faults, our issues, understand our challenges, accept them, embrace them, and then once we do this, forgive them, even forgive ourselves for whatever actions we took, understand, accept our regrets, our past decisions, our past mistakes, and all this. And then once we go through this journey of the self-acceptance, then we will see that we start attracting the acceptance from the others.
So cool.
So for me, acceptance, the third element, is very, very powerful. And I'm happy to see that it works with my coaches and my clients, because I'm telling you, literally 80% of those, men or women, it doesn't matter, in different stages of their life, acceptance is a big issue that we're working on. And then what is R? Sorry, please.
Yeah, I'm going to come back because I have a question for that, but I'm going to go through all of them, and then I want to come back and ask some questions because I want to keep your flow going. Okay, so HAR.
Then is R. So what would R be? So I was thinking, and I was saying, okay, if I'm holistic and I'm getting empowered, and then I work on my acceptance, my self-acceptance first, and then slowly the acceptance from others. What does this journey provide me? What does this give me? It gives me resilience.
Absolutely.
So it offers the resilience that we need in order to really come over anything that life throws us.
Yes.
Because the more holistic, the more empowered, the more accepted we feel, the easier we will get over some real challenges in life. Either it can be a divorce, let's say, or it can be some professional big challenge that we have to to overcome, or maybe a death of a loved person, or grief, or whatever, so or of maybe an illness or sickness of ourselves or something, anything that comes to us. By building this resilience, we would be able to really tackle it in a much more efficient and effective way, and we can get over it faster than if we hadn't built this process and these levels of empowerment and acceptance.
Oh, your emotional levels would be up and down, right? As you face challenges and you face difficulties, you're not in control. You're not really in control of yourself. But if you have the holistic down and you're empowered, you're self-accepting, you're much more balanced, less mercurial as you go through these challenges.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Especially with kids, right? Also with kids.
Of course, with kids.
Right?
With kids with the whole package. With the whole package.
I mean, that's really the real test, right? Is how you can handle the nighttime when things are crazy, you're tired, your own emotions are a little bit at the end, and but the children, and,
but you know what? Now we'll take the opportunity to say something here, for the corporate world. Unfortunately, a lot of people, and including us in different stages of our life, because I'm still saying to myself that now, this is what I will become when I grow up, and I'm 53.
Yes.
Right? But why I'm saying that? I'm saying that I see so many kids around me in the professional world, in the corporate world, right? That my kids, right, are in much better position, in much better place that many people are there outside there,
I have sat at a few. Yeah.
Yes.
I was just sorry. Go ahead.
So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just want to say I don't accuse anyone. I don't blame anyone, but it's a reality. It's a reality.
It's where they are, and we have to, and back to acceptance, right? We have to accept people for where they are at on the journey.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to embrace them like we're embracing our children.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our kids, and support them, and at least, or not support them, just even try to raise their own awareness for whatever they may need, because it's great. I love also being a child. I also love being, doing silly things and funny things and all that, right? But there's always some red lines that you cannot cross when you're in a professional level, or you cannot cross, in a social environment, in a social space. Anyway, coming back, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Oh, well, then you gave me another thought, which is, I have to tell this quick side story. Then I want to get to the R or past to the T. Now that we got resilience. So you talk about adults in the room and kids in the room, and I have two granddaughters, and there's one 7 and one 4. And the other morning I woke up very early with the kids, and the two daughters were, the 7 and the 4-year-old were all in the kitchen, and it's maybe 6 a.m. and the mom and dad are asleep and the baby asleep. And the 4-year-old looks at me and says, "Papa, before the adults wake up, we should have some cereal," right? so she looks at me as not the adult, but exactly. one of them, right? I'm one of the kids. And the mommy and daddy are the real adults, and Papa is not the adult.
Of course. This is a compliment. For me, this is the best compliment you can receive.
My heart was so full, right? It's just bursting with love at that point, right? She looks at me like, "Papa, before the adults wake up." Oh my God.
Let's do something naughty.
Let's do something naughty, right? Like you're one of us, and you're totally with us. Oh,
I love that. I love that.
So cute. What a great moment.
Yes,
so we've got the holistic approach. Once you get to that holistic place, and then you like you said, you're empowered, really, right? You've got that empowerment to move around, with that shield, with that radiating kind of aura. And then you've got acceptance, right? You're fully accepting yourself. You're accepting people where they are, where they're at on the journey. And then you're, like you said, you're bulletproof with this resilience. Because you can face anything, and you're going to come out okay.
Correct. Nicely
Tell us about the T. What about the T?
So T is not Tassos, right?
Why not? You're the architect of this. Why not make it about you?
No. So T is the transformation.
Hmm.
This is transformation, because and how this works, it works like, as you said, you're starting your journey with a holistic, you're reaching to a level that you to a stage that you're bulletproof, as you very nicely
Yeah.
said, with the resilience. So then if you look back when you started your journey, you will see a different self.
Ah, yes.
You will see a different self of yours, and you say, okay, I was there starting in this level here, and now I'm up there. So that means that I transformed, I grew, I developed. So finally, I'm transforming to the best version of myself, the best version of yourself. Your clients are transforming to the best version of themselves. So this is the idea of T, and this is the transformation that's happening throughout this journey. And this is, we know, what the success is, and this is where the feeling good is, if I can say,
Yeah.
right? Because when you're receiving this, when you see, you're looking back and you see this journey and you see this transformation, then you say, yeah, it's really worth it.
So, this other guy, Aristotle, funny guy, one of those guys. Was
Sounds rings a bell to me.
Yeah, he wrote about flourishing, and I forget the word. There's another word, another Greek word that he had used, or Latin, maybe a Latin word. But the flourishing is really the holistic. You describe those components of being holistic, and that's really flourishing. If you've got all
Yes.
of those components, you really are on another level.
You gave me a very nice metaphor now. May I share this metaphor now? What you just said.
Yes.
So flourishing is like holistic would be the roots.
Oh, love it.
Empowerment is when you have the how do you call it in
Yes.
English?
Yeah.
When
The
you have
the trunk, the tree, the trunk of the
trunk, the
tree.
tree coming
Yeah.
coming out of the ground, because it's
Yes.
empowered to come up.
Yes.
Right?
And
Something
it's
is pushing it to
so
come up and
grounded, right?
started growing. Yes. Then acceptance is when it grows up, and then people and the elements of nature starting accepting it, the birds, the bees, and everything start
Yes.
accepting it. Resilience is when the weather conditions is very strong, but still the plant is there
Doesn't
and the
matter.
tree is
Yeah.
there. It
Doesn't
doesn't,
matter.
it goes with the air, but it doesn't break, it doesn't fall. And transformations, when you see this big, huge, nice, beautiful tree or plant, with the flowers or the fruits and everything. And
Yes.
you say, look, it started with the root and
Yeah.
became a fully transformed. This is
Started with the seed, right?
it's exactly the
Just an
metaphor.
acorn, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly the image, that metaphor that just came up.
Oh,
Now that you
that's a
mentioned
great.
now that you mentioned the flourishing aspect.
Yeah, because it's blooming. Flourishing is also blooming. Okay, I
I'm
got
gonna
some
use
questions.
this. I'm gonna use this, by the way.
I want to see the when you get the graphic done. I want you please share
Yes.
it. Make sure you
Yes.
tag me on LinkedIn when you share it.
Definitely. I will make
Okay,
a
I
note.
got another question for you from the jar. Oh, interesting. Are you a highly sensitive person?
Yes, I am. I'm telling you right away. I am very sensitive. Yes, I'm sensitive in, in how people treat me. I'm sensitive in how,
Hmm.
how I interact with people. In social gatherings. I'm sensitive in words that people may say to me. Good or bad, both ways.
Yes.
Good or
Yeah.
bad, both ways. I mean, right? It's not
Yeah.
only if it's something aggressive or something. I'm saying even bad. I'm getting sensitive. I'm getting emotional, and also when someone is a bit more aggressive or a bit more offending, then
Yes.
also I get very sensitive on this. Yes, I am.
Is that now, as you look back, right? I would imagine when you're back in Greece and you're in the corporate world, you're a different person, you're a different person 12, 14 years ago. How is the sensitivity different now? How have you learned to use it as a tool? It could be used as a weapon against you when you're not in control, when you're not holistic. It can be a
Yes,
weapon against you.
true.
And
But if
you're
I
a
may
different
say,
person. Yeah.
yeah, if
Yeah.
I may say, it can be also an asset.
Hmm.
So it's a very interesting question, actually, and I'm honest. I've never thought about that in this way. That what was before and what is now during my
Yes.
journey, right? But the sensitivity was always there, and I was coping differently. Now the sensitivity is still here. I'm coping
Yeah.
differently now,
Yes.
but I think I use it as an asset as well, because the sensitivity in my, if I could say, in my love meter, in
Hmm.
my love, let's say, radio meter, how I can say that, it's higher. It's higher sensitivity, and it becomes, it brings me much more positive feelings and fulfillment and
Yeah.
satisfaction, right? So emotionally, I think I evolved, and so even the sensitivity is
Yes.
still high. I'm enjoying the process, and I'm enjoying the benefits I get from the sensitivity.
Interesting. So you can open that valve, you can turn that on now. You don't have to hide it and be protected from your own sensitivity. Now you can use it as a
Exactly. I
tool.
can use it, and I can be more vulnerable. I can be
Yes.
more authentic. I can be more true. In the past, I was a little bit more, covered, a little bit
I
more
love it.
higher sealed there. I was a little bit more tight, if I can say that in this way. But now I'm using this sensitivity in a much better way, for sure.
You described it, most, 80%, right? It's a big number of people
Hmm.
have not really found that self-acceptance, right? They haven't found
Hmm.
that, they haven't found that. And tell us, what is it like when you get to that point with the client and they go, aha, wow,
Hmm.
I think, Tassos, I think you hit the nerve, right? That's like drilling a very sensitive nerve when you're looking in the mirror and you're really realizing at that point something is there that I haven't really overcome, my own thoughts and my own self, my own the way I look at myself when I come out of my own body and I look at who I am and where I'm at in life. And I've had difficulty even loving myself, I think, is another way of saying it, right? Self-love.
Of course.
Um, how does that look? Is that a powerful moment? I mean, what happens when the client, because
It,
that's, whew,
Yes, it is. It is very powerful, because it's really an awakening moment there, an aha moment, as you said. Because we believe, that we believe that we are strong, and we believe, that
yes,
we have the solutions, and we believe that we know everything, and we believe that we are maybe strong-minded and this and that, right? But then when this moment comes, we realize that, oops, you know what? Yeah,
yes,
but maybe I did not pay attention. I have not paid attention so much to myself. I have not paid
mm,
attention to my self-care. I have not paid attention to myself, to my how to manage my emotions. I have not paid attention so much, to accepting my mistakes. I am full of regrets. I'm full of bad decisions,
yeah,
maybe, that I continuously bring back in my mind
yeah,
again and again and again, and gives me this, increases my stress levels, increases my
mm,
anxiety levels. So we all go through these periods in our life. Some people bigger, some longer, some people less, shorter periods. But we need to understand that, yes, by getting the awareness that we need to work on ourselves first, and we need to forgive ourselves, especially this,
yeah,
forgive ourselves for many things that we are still keeping strong in our minds and in our heart, in our emotions. These are creating these things, and these decisions and these thoughts are creating big blockages in our body and in our minds and in our emotions. And that prevents us from being really the best version of ourselves,
yeah.
really
Be the best.
prevents us from sharing out to the world who we really are and what we can really achieve. So if we cannot do that, then we don't receive also the acceptance.
Yeah.
Because
Yes. Yeah.
no,
Yeah. Keep going.
please go ahead.
No, no, no. You keep going. If you got to finish the thought.
Because I was thinking that, when we are trying to be, because I've been there, as I told you, a lot of years,
Yes.
many years ago, when we were trying to be very stiff or very tight, or not sharing, or not be opening up too much, right? Of course, then people will see us that you keep a distance. People
They
will
feel it.
understand that
Yeah. They feel
you
it.
they understand that, yeah, this guy is keeping a distance, maybe deliberately, maybe unconsciously, it doesn't matter what, but that's something. There is no connection, there is no proper connection. The frequency is not the
Yes.
right, the frequency is not right. But when we're starting relaxing and when we're starting accepting more and we started forgiving ourselves first, then we are becoming a bit, let's say, lighter. We're becoming a little bit smoother. We are rounding the edges, right?
Yes.
So in this way, then we can connect more authentically. We can connect more truly with other people, and that of course improves the relationship and improves dramatically the acceptance levels.
Biggest difference who you are today, who you were 15 years ago? Your
Yeah,
transformation.
of course,
If you
the
look,
biggest difference. I'm a father, right? So this is the reality. But through this process and through the process of relocation
yeah,
and through the process of coming here to Qatar, I really have found now. I can tell that with a hand in my heart.
yes.
I've really found my path. This is
Mm,
the biggest difference because coaching for me is really my path now.
I love it.
It's really the thing that I'm thinking, okay, maybe I have another 20, 30, 40, 50 years of life. I don't know how many, right? I'm still considering that I'm midway, right? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I say, yeah, okay, coaching, this is for me. And the more value I can offer and I can contribute to the world, the more happier and fulfilled I get.
Beautiful. I didn't share with you the questions, so it's quite funny as we're talking. We have a lot of the same beliefs and
Mm,
ideas. Um,
appreciate that.
the 444 questions come from. I wrote a book called Dear God,
Mm.
where I wrote these letters to God, and asking, saying, do I think I understand life? And let me present to you my thesis.
Mm.
And
Amazing.
so,
I like that.
I very, arrogantly wrote down these letters to God and saying, I'm just checking in with you to see, if I'm getting this correct. And and so there's four parts to it, four kind of parts, and then each part has got these three topics, if you will, like things I would approach. The first part I called it the Book of Self, and
Mhm.
it's your yesterdays, your todays, and your tomorrows.
Mhm.
So it's how you look at the past, how you think, what you think about, the present moment, this beautiful present moment, and then that thing about the future, right? Thinking about the future. And then as you kind of, one step outside of yourself is, you and another person. So I called it others, the book of others in a way. And
The Book of
and
Others, yes.
and the three parts to that are acceptance,
Mhm.
forgiveness, and compassion.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so, and you can imagine, and each one's got four parts to it. And each topic had four letters. So there are
Mhm.
12 topics, 48 letters. And the next part I called it the book of, outside circle. It's the book of
Mhm.
all, meaning all
Mm.
people, humanity,
Yes.
if you would.
Yes.
And the topics there is love, karma, and service.
Mm.
And so when you were talking about service, it really rang true for me about, when you're in that loving, and love is all about, the first one in love is, don't you have to love yourself? Isn't that the most important love? Because without that, you cannot love another person. You cannot accept love, truly cannot
Yeah.
accept it. If you don't believe and love yourself wholly, it's difficult for you to receive love. And
Very
if you
difficult.
have all of those, then you can teach love. You can show your children, right? You can show other people love. And then, of course, karma, just leave things and people better than you find them, with your energy. And then service, you talked about that,
Mm.
having a service
Mm.
mind, a service heart, going out to humanity with that open idea of helping humanity, which seems like that's the path you've chosen now for your next 50 years.
Yeah.
And then that last part is, the God part or the universe part or the creation or the energy, whatever your kind of spiritual, wherever you're
Belief
at
is
on that
yes.
on that
Mhm.
spiritual language spectrum is the word I use. Wherever you're at on that spectrum, and that one is love is faith, hope, and prayer or mindfulness or meditation. How you
Mhm.
connect with yourself or you connect with the energy around you, or
Yeah.
God. How you talk to God if you're talking to God in that way. So it is kind of interesting. That faith and the hope part was very interesting for me that I put those two together, because I found with people with little faith in either in themselves or faith in something bigger than themselves, uh, they don't have a lot of hope often. And if they're missing those two, then they also don't have some communication with some. They haven't found that phone. They can't phone a friend. Meaning they can't touch something bigger than themselves or bigger than the world. So it's kind of interesting as you're talking through this. We have so many of the same topics.
Thank you for saying that. This is amazing. I would love to read your book. Because and I fully agree what you said about faith and hope. Yes, because we need to have both, and maybe mostly faith, in order to really be to really get us going. Because in the end, what is something that wakes us up in the morning?
Yeah.
It should be. We need to believe in something. We need to really have something, to believe in, to create, and be hopeful, and be faithful around it, and be optimistic. Otherwise, we will not wake up in the morning.
Yes, for what, right? What's the purpose? For what? What are you here for? I love your story about how you woke up and this idea, as you laid down, and that nighttime brain, right? Your sleeping brain, your sleeping consciousness. And how it's such a great factory, an imagination, and you can, how important it is for people to lay down at night and to lay down and have the intention of creating or solving something. Let your nighttime brain do it. And, look at you, you woke up and, you got the answers.
It's miraculous. Sometimes it's miraculous. We just need to pay attention though. Eh? We need to pay attention because sometimes we lose attention.
Yeah. You have to be quiet enough. Let yourself be quiet enough to listen, I think, pay attention, like you said, to slow things down. Okay. On that very close, this is really almost based on your own experience. I love this one. Why do some people find forgiveness hard?
Hard. You say
difficult.
Hard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Why do people find forgiveness difficult? What's your, because you're coaching clients through this, right?
Yes,
to accept themselves, and that involves forgiving themselves or forgiving another person.
I think because we are too selfish.
Still stuck in our self.
Yes, stuck in ourselves, and we are selfish to accept. We're selfish to, let's say, accept that we have to forgive, that we maybe have made a mistake, maybe that we know we have not acted properly in a situation. So maybe because we cannot accept this, and maybe we're too selfish to think this way, that's why we don't forgive. And that's why we don't forgive ourselves first, because we cannot forgive and say, no, but I was right. I took the right decision. It was the others. It was the others that did not play fairly, let's say, for example. It was not fair play. It was not
right. Yeah. Whatever the situation.
Whatever the situation is, exactly. So that's why, because we're not really ready, and we are maybe very stubborn or selfish, or very strong-minded there. That's why we have difficulty to forgive ourselves first. Because if we would forgive ourselves, then it's much easier to forgive others for what they are doing in brackets to us.
The funniest part when I look back from my own experience, and maybe you have similar, or you've got clients like this, but I find it when I look back at things that have happened, like things I should forgive, right? Or I should have, over my time, and things that happen, Eric, like you said, the quotation, happened to me, or somebody did to me. You actually find out that those are all things that are supposed to happen for you. They happen for you.
And not to you, of course.
It's not to you. And I think if people change that, the word there, and the way that they replay it in their brain, and ask the question, why? Why did this happen for? It happened for me. Why? Not it happened to me. Why? But it happened for me, and why? And these are two different answers, right? And they take you two different places.
Yeah, my personal example, Ken, what I shared already. We came here in Qatar in the first few years, the first couple of years, I was even more, even 3, 4, 5 years, right? Until I find
Yes.
this path. Until I find this path, it was, oh, why this happened to me? I should not have taken
Yes.
this decision. Maybe it's not my decision; it's someone else's decision. And now I have to go through all this and all that. And now I've switched completely. I've shifted completely my perspective, right, and my state
Yes.
of mind. And I say, look, this is why this happened to me, but in the end, it happened for me.
For me. Yeah. It
Yeah,
really happens
exactly.
for us.
Exactly. So this is I think a mindset shift that we need to do. And if I may say here, it's not only mindset; it's also a heart set, and it's also
Yes.
a physical set. It's a mental set. It's a complete thing. The state of being that we are, and the perspective that we have,
Yeah. And I
that we
think
need to
that
change.
question empowers you in a way as well, right? Changing that from a to me to a for me, and asking the question, not, why it happened to me, but why it happened for me. It gives you the empowerment. You're now in control of the outcome.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You're in control of the outcome, and You're in control of accepting
Yeah.
what is happening instead of judging it and criticizing it.
Oh.
You are accepting what is happening, and you
Oh.
see it creatively, and you try to use this
Yes.
knowledge creatively to move forward.
That's beautiful. I like that. I love that. I love that. How to use it creatively. And then again, like just perfectly lines up. Once you've got that as your mindset, right? That how you look at things that happen in life, that they're happening for you and they're opportunities, all of a sudden you're way more resilient,
Yep.
because you're now, you can overcome it, because you're like, oh, this is a good thing. Now I just got to figure out why,
Yeah.
and
Even in the beginning, maybe we're not able to understand if it's a good thing or not, right? But if we just accept it as is,
yes. Yeah.
without judgment and without criticism,
Yeah.
and we say, okay, this happened to me right now. Okay,
Mm.
what if this has happened for me, and I can take advantage? How I can
Yeah.
use this? How I can take this experience to use it, to help me, to support me in something that I want to build, I want to create, I want to change, in my life. How I can use this. And then the creative mind comes in and starts challenging us and saying, yeah, okay, why don't you can do this? Maybe you can write a book, for example, with this experience of yours. Right? Maybe you can become something different. Maybe you need to study a new subject. Maybe you need to find a new friend. Maybe you need to go and visit this country that you've never done so far, right? And you
you
always
cannot find
want.
on the map. Yeah. You don't even
Yes,
know
and
where on the map it is.
and you always want whatever the case may be for everyone.
When your wife told you we're going to Doha, you went, okay, where is it's in the Middle East, I know, but where?
I can tell you literally until 2010, 11. Don't say that loud.
Oh.
but then, you know what, it was funny, the situation, because I was very ready. I was ready, to take any move, to make a move back then, because maybe out of nature, out of my adventures, let's say,
Yes.
a bit, self, I want to make a change. I thought it was the right time. So I said to her, look, if this is something that you really want to do for your future, for your professional future, and you believe that you're 100% for it,
Yeah.
I just quit today. And I quit my job. I had a very senior position back in Greece, commercial director, very highly paid perfect allowances for the Greek market. It was amazing, right? And then I just said, I quit. And then I helped her in
Yes.
also
Yeah.
in not having any guilt or any, regrets that maybe this is the wrong thing to do as a family and all that. So I supported her full on that. And then this is how it was done.
Tassos, I think you're flourishing. It's coming through.
Thank you.
You're in a great, you're in such a great space, and I hope a lot of people can find you and line up with you and follow the heart program. It's a beautiful concept, beautiful acronym, and it's so easily understood.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ken.
It's really understood. How about I usually do this a little bit before. Apologize for not asking up front, but how do people find you? We'll put all this in the links and everything on the we'll go back on LinkedIn and everything and make sure people can find you. But how do they find you? And how
Of
do
course,
they...
of course, in LinkedIn, right, with my profile, Tassos Kotzias, or my full name is Anastasios Kotzias. But
I think that's a better, Anastasio is a better,
Anastasios. I have two profiles actually. I have my
Yes.
profile, my personal profile is Anastasios Kotzias, and I have my page, my holistic coaching page, which is holistic coach Tassos. And so they can find me in both ways. And of course, I have a website as well, which is again my name is TASSOSKOTZIAS.com. So it's my full name.com, where I have a lot of big wealth of information, different kind of blog articles. I have different podcasts, webinars. I'm also preparing now a great workshop now for the power of saying no, in 2 weeks from now, by the end of March, 30th and 31st of March. It's a 4 hours workshop on the power of saying no and how to communicate our boundaries assertively.
I love it. It's such great stuff. When's the book out?
The book will come a bit later. Yeah, I'm still preparing it. I have a great title for the moment, a great concept in my mind. Unfortunately, I cannot share it for the moment, but maybe I can share it with you privately, just to provide you with some feedback of yours.
If there's not a tree on the cover, right? If the cover is not a tree, I'm going to be very disappointed, my friend.
I should.
Oh, Tassos, again, thanks so much. Thanks so much for sharing your journey and the hard concept and everything. You're such a wonderful human. It's a great story. And I really wish you tremendous success, because I know that means good things for all the clients.
I appreciate that, Ken, and I really enjoyed the jar concept of yours, and the synchronicity of the questions. It was amazing.
Yeah, and the synchronicity of our paths and our ideas. Yeah. It's really great. It's really great to meet somebody else on the same path.
Appreciate it.
I love it. Thanks everybody for listening and supporting the Humanist and everything we're doing here. Great guests like Tassos. So many great stories that we've uncovered and just starting the journey. I think we're maybe only a number 15. You might be the 15th guest, something right around there. And so I just anticipate a lot more great conversations like this. Tassos, hang around for 15 seconds. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Humanist Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Stearns. Join us on a journey where we unravel the intricacies of workplace dynamics